One cruise line you don't hear mentioned quite often is Holland America Line. Actually, the cruise line just released its 12th ship, Rotterdam, late in 2021. This 100,000 gross ton ship is the third vessel in the line's innovative Pinnacle Class. And let me just say, we were really impressed by this brand new ship. Why? Well, stay tuned as we break down all the things Holland America Line does better than the competition up next. Hey everyone, I'm DB from Eat, Sleep, Cruise, where we help you see the world one port at a time so you can plan the perfect vacation. Now, the wife and I have been on over 40 cruises with 10 different cruise lines. So we have pretty reasonable expectations on what it's like to sail with a contemporary cruise line. So what exactly does Holland America do better than the competition? Well, we'll share it all in this video. Now, before we get into the review, if you have any questions at all about Rotterdam or sailing with Holland America, leave them in the comment section below and we'll be sure to answer them. Now, odds are if you like to cruise, you're like me, and that also means you like to eat. So it shouldn't be a surprise that Holland America Line Rotterdam offers several different dining venues. For casual eats, the ship has the Lido Marketplace. This cruise ship buffet on Deck 9 is well designed and offers one of the best buffets at sea. The venue is easy to navigate with a predictable setup. The food is freshly prepared and served to guests like a luxury cruise line. Now, among some of my favorite stations is the Distant Lands Asian cuisine. There's also a custom salad bar, a custom pasta station, carving stations, and in the morning, a custom omelet station. Not to mention a wide variety of freshly baked goods like breads and cakes in the Rye station. Now, also conveniently located next to the Lido pool, you will find the Dive In. This aptly named place serves burgers and fries. Now, one great thing about this is you can order your selections from the Holland America Line app, which then pings you when your food is ready. This means you don't need to waste your time waiting near the venue, and your food is always hot and fresh right off the grill. Not far away, one deck above, is the New York Deli and Pizza. This venue is open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and late night snacks. The pizza here may not be the best at sea, but it's certainly worth a visit during your trip. The deli sandwiches too are a hidden gem. Again, like the Dive In, you can use the app for mobile ordering so you can enjoy your pool time before eating. Now, equally impressive as the casual eats is the main dining room on Rotterdam. We dined there once for breakfast during our trip and then 3 times for dinner. The breakfast in the main dining room is some of the best at sea. It offers a wide menu of custom-made specialties. Like most cruise lines, at night, there's a rotational menu. Now, surprisingly, there isn't a classics or standard menu each evening, although you will find several selections do appear multiple times throughout the cruise. We were fond of many of our dinner selection during our 3 visits. During the second gala night, I really enjoyed the duck breast and the beef tenderloin, which was perfectly seared to a medium rare temperature. The Chef Rudy's chicken, jerked pork tenderloin, and swordfish were also pleasant surprises for entrees. With a combination of great food selections and an amazing waitstaff that kept our dinners well paced, it was a treat visiting the MDR each evening. Now, of course, all of the dining venues we just mentioned are complimentary and included in your cruise fare. However, Holland America Line also features several specialty restaurants. During this trip, we sampled most of them. We started off at the French-inspired seafood restaurant, Rudy Sel de Mer. This restaurant's marinated lobster and fried calamari appetizers were the perfect start to our dining experience. My classic seafood stew was well prepared with a hearty broth, while the wife's coq au vin did not disappoint. The cruise line's signature steakhouse of Pinnacle Grill served up equally impressive classics like filet mignon, crab cakes, and the restaurant's signature candied bacon. Located on Deck 10 with amazing aft views is Tamarind. This restaurant delivered a savory and spicy mix of classic Pan-Asian dishes. The 5-spice baby back ribs fell right off the bone and were bursting with flavor. The crab fried rice offered a light and crispy version of this takeout favorite. Finally, my Szechuan shrimp was a tangy entree with lightly breaded shrimp paired with wok fried vegetables and a sweet sauce that definitely packed some heat. Now, of all the specialty restaurants, the Italian restaurant Canaletto on Deck 10 was not as good as we expected. Still, I did enjoy the grilled calamari appetizer, which was a nice alternative to the classic fried starter. Plus, the orange blossom ricotta tart was a warm cheesecake with a fruit topping that was one of my favorite desserts of the entire trip. Now, Holland America Rotterdam definitely wowed us with the dining. But what was probably even more impressive was the nightlife. In particular, the live music. Rotterdam is home to 4 different music venues on the ship's music walk. On deck 2 forward, you'll find the billboard on board on the port side. This piano bar was home to 2 musicians who played theme sets along with all request hours almost every night. During our trip, Matt and Megan did an admirable job of recreating the most popular piano songs you would expect to find at a piano bar. On the starboard side, you will find the Rolling Stone Rock Room. This venue, exclusive to Pinnacle Class ships, was by far our favorite music space on the ship. The rock band here, led by Mr. McMillan, were certainly not your typical cruise ship rock band. They had a wide and deep catalog and were not afraid to improvise or add in some instrumental solos. In fact, I would book another Holland America Line ship, any ship, if I knew this band was going to be on board. Now, Deck 2 midship is actually a 2-deck space that doubles both as B.B. King's Blues Club and the Lincoln Center stage. During the afternoons of our cruise and the early evenings, the space hosted a quartet of musicians which offered classical orchestra sets. At night, the B.B. King's All-Star Band played jazz and classic pop music. In addition, the ship's comedian, Warren B. Hall, also performed at this venue in between the band sets on several evenings. Now, this meant during our 7-night cruise, we fell into a pretty predictable routine of bouncing from one lounge to the next for musical sets, along with squeezing in a theater show, comedy performance, or a game show. While there were a few game shows like Majority Rules, the nightlife on the ship mostly revolved around music. With a variety of talented musicians and signature cocktails at the bars and lounges on Rotterdam, this was more than fine with us. Now, speaking of bars and lounges, with a ship that has a capacity of just over 2,600 guests, there are several bars and lounges that feature signature menus. All 3 of the music venues on the Music Walk feature signature menus. You will not want to miss drinks such as a Whiskey Smash at the Billboard on board or the Roadhouse Drop at B.B. King's. New to this ship is one of my favorite new bars on a cruise ship, the Half Moon Bar. This lounge showcases classic cocktails, with each drink telling a story tied to the history of the company. I was fond of a few drinks here, including the 3 Mile Run and the Sea Castles, which was their version of one of my go-to cruise drinks, a sidecar. Up near the pools, there are also 3 bars, which all serve a pretty standard bar menu. You can enjoy classics like a Pina Colada, Bahama Mama, or Mojito, along with several options for beer and wine. Also, the Tamarind Bar on Deck 10 offers exotic flavors with cocktails featuring Eastern ingredients, making it the perfect spot for a pre-dinner cocktail. The best part is that almost every cocktail we sampled was included in the HAL America Line signature drink package. Now, another great thing about sailing on a HAL America Line ship is the pool deck. Now, for a ship of this size, there are 2 main pools, both located on Deck 9. The main pool is the Lido Pool. This is a centrally located pool, which is open to all cruisers. With a retractable roof, cruisers can enjoy this area rain or shine. Now, during our Eastern Caribbean cruise, we had gorgeous weather all cruise, so the roof was at least partially open for a majority of the trip. Now, here's the big difference. We actually preferred the Sea View Pool. This pool is an adults-only pool, and it's a completely open space on the aft of the ship. Oftentimes, cruise lines put the adults-only solarium pool in the front of the ship, and it's often a covered pool. But on Rotterdam, the adults got access to the more preferable aft side of the ship. The Sea View Pool area is home to aft-facing loungers, as well as a tiered sun deck with loungers on decks 10 and 11. So there are plenty of opportunities to get your tan on or simply relax. The aptly named Sea View Bar is also nearby, with servers routinely making the rounds to check in on you. Now, to be honest, service on a contemporary cruise line can be hit or miss. So we were more than glad to find that the service on Rotterdam exceeded our expectations. On this cruise, the service seemed more personal. We got to know several team members throughout our trip. Mark was our go-to waiter at the Seaview Bar and later at the Rolling Stone Rock Room, the two venues we visited the most on the cruise ship. Anag and Santosa were our waitstaff team in the main dining room. They always had a smile on their faces and were very timely. In fact, this was the quickest service we've ever had in the main dining room on a cruise ship. For the most part, the same could be said at the specialty restaurants. Betty at the Pinnacle Grill was upbeat and talkative, while still keeping our dinner well-paced. Finally, there were plenty of waitstaff in the bars and lounges, including the spots like the Grand Dutch Cafe and the Explorations Cafe for our morning coffees. Our stateroom attendant was also excellent. While we didn't see him as often as we normally do on other cruises, he still always found time to make up our room and was sure to meet all of our needs. Now, when it comes to some of the other experiences on Rotterdam, we'll be honest and say that they were pretty typical. For example, the daily activities during this port-intensive trip were pretty average. For the 7-night cruise, there was actually 4 ports of call. So on the 2 sea days, there were limited activities, such as the EXC talks on things such as the origins of rum or marine life. There were also your pretty standard trivia sessions, some light chamber music, some demonstrations, as well as sports competitions. So while the cruise activity staffs may not have hosted as many events as you would get on cruise lines like Royal Caribbean, Carnival, or Norwegian, it appeared our fellow cruisers were content making use of the quieter outdoor spaces. Not to mention the Explorations Cafe on Deck 12 is a great indoor space to relax. Here, passengers could even partake in some board games in their own dedicated space, which was a very popular place to hang out. New to the ship, on Deck 2 is a library. This bright and airy public space looks more like an upscale bookstore and is a perfect fit on this refined ship. Organized by genre, this quiet nook has several books that cruisers can enjoy during their vacation. Similarly, there is a sports deck on Deck 11. This is home to a basketball court. During our cruise, there was both structured activities as well as free to play. So several games including basketball, soccer, and pickleball did occur during our cruise. Adjacent to the court was a shuffleboard on the port side of the ship and cornhole on the starboard side. Throughout the Deck 11 space, there's also some outdoor workout equipment for those looking to do circuit training. Additionally, cruisers will find a dedicated jogging track in the center of the deck, although you will need to complete 11 laps to equal 1 mile. However, I do like that all the sports area is in one centrally located space. So for those who are looking to work out or make use of these activities, you are separated from the rest of the ship. Now, of course, Rotterdam doesn't have all the bells and whistles of mega ships, but there are still plenty of options to remain active during the cruise. And honestly, I liked the more low-key, relaxed vibe on the pool decks, as other competitor ships can get quite loud and crowded near those amenities. Now, we thought we have seen it all when it comes to staterooms on cruise ships. However, our veranda stateroom, cabin 6048, still surprised us on this ship. Now, it was located right next to elevators, making it an ideal spot. And with a square footage of 228 square feet, it was pretty typical setup for a cruise ship cabin. However, the finishes and decor were more refined and elegant than we expected. The beachy wood tones and muted colors made the room feel more like a hotel. While the room's square footage is on par with comparable cabins, the cruise ship's bathroom was anything but standard. With a large rectangular shower, complete with a glass door and marble finishes, this space was definitely an upgrade to the typical cruise ship bathroom. There was also a ton of storage. There was plenty of USB outlets and power outlets near the bed and the desk. For us as content creators, we always welcome the extra technology. So not only did it have the additional technology and space, it had more elegant finishes. Not to mention, the balcony was the perfect size. It offered enough depth to let us lounge with the chairs and ottomans while enjoying the ocean views. Our January 2022 cruise had under 1,300 passengers, which meant we were sailing at less than half capacity. With the reduced number of travelers, we were not surprised that it never felt busy. Still, we feel that the layout of the ship has a design that would handle larger capacities without feeling too crowded. The main dining room had a few diners regardless of the day. We would always get seats at the main theater or any of the bars and lounges without trouble. Servers at the different public venues were quick to take our order. Honestly, sometimes it felt like we had the ship mostly to ourselves. We even found prime aft deck chairs near the sea view pool in the late morning. Like, when does that ever happen? The main Lido pool did always seem busier than the sea view pool. We did usually show up to shows or activities 15 to 30 minutes early for optimal seating. Though the only time this was really necessary was for the adult comedy show on the last night of the cruise. There was one area where we felt the cruise line was just average. The world stage on decks 2 and 3 is the main theater on the cruise ship. During the day, the theater hosted EXC talks on the history and culture of the region. The atypical Welcome Aboard show is actually an EXC talk on the 150-year history of Holland America Line. Origin Story is a well-produced and emotional story about the cruise line's past. Our cruise and travel director, Rebecca, did a great job with this presentation. Additionally, the world stage featured signature performances by the Step 1 Dance Company. During our 7-night cruise, there were 4 performances by this dance troupe. Hands down, our favorite was Humanity. This show features great use of the digital aspects of the theater and some of the best choreography. Another engaging show on the world stage is BBC Earth in Concert, featuring the Lincoln Center Stage performers. This ensemble played alongside nature footage and audio put together by BBC for the cruise line. Now, when it came to embarkation, boarding Rotterdam was easy. Pre-cruise, we completed the online check-in in the Navigator app. Our assigned boarding time was 12:20. However, similar to our previous cruises, we did arrive at the pier early. Leaving our pre-cruise hotel, we arrived at Terminal 21 at Port Everglades by 11:30 a.m. Thankfully, we were able to proceed with the embarkation process right away. From security, health screening, and checking in, it took about 20 minutes. From here, we waited only a few moments before general boarding passengers were allowed to embark on the ship. So we were on Holland America Rotterdam by noon. Disembarking the ship at the end of the cruise was even easier. With self-checkout scheduled between 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m., we left our room right around 8 a.m. We secured an empty elevator from our Deck 6 stateroom and went all the way down to the gangway on Deck 6 without any issues. Further, there were no lines and no waiting to leave the ship. From our cabin all the way through customs took less than 15 minutes. Additionally, getting on and off the ship at the ports of call was simple too. For most ports, there were 2 gangways available. We didn't even need to wait long for a tender to Half Moon Key, as there were plenty of boats waiting after our delayed clearance to the island. And there you have it. That's why Holland America Line Rotterdam surpassed all of our expectations. The cruise line's newest ship shined with fantastic food, lively nighttime entertainment, and an upscale atmosphere. And if you enjoyed this video review, we actually have another cruise review that we think you're gonna love for Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Odyssey of the Seas. Now, that ship is much different than Rotterdam. So find out what we liked, loved, and where that ship fell short in our cruise review.